The weather here has been so stormy and horrible in the last few days that I am inspired to use this beautiful book to create something a little bit more sunny using my Neocolor IIs. Hi everyone, Jane here again today. I thought that I would use something from this lovely Colour Harmony for Artists book from Ana Victoria Calderon. I will link this book down in the description box where I will also list the products that I'm using today. And as it's been such awful weather, I thought it was time for me to have a go at doing something inspired by this beautiful colour palette and picture. When I first got this book, this was the one that drew me to it, the glowing sunset. So what Anna does is she has a photograph in this book, she develops a colour palette from it and then creates a piece of artwork. So my piece will be inspired by this. I'm not going to copy her exactly, but I like the idea of being able to use all these colours within this. I think I'm going to add a little bit more doodling and textures and things into mine as well, but I love the colour, I love the idea of this, so that is my inspiration. And I thought that to carry on the theme of using things that I don't tend to get out a lot, I have got this pot today. Now this is my pot of Neocolor IIs, but also my scribble sticks. I may or may not use the scribble sticks. The main thing I want to use is the Neocolor IIs. So I have got my Winsor & Newton mixed media pad, and I thought that today, rather than dividing it into sections, I just want to do one big picture because I want to include the whole of that sunset. That word evaded me, probably because we haven't had an awful lot of sunshine. So I've got my blue Scotch tape. I want to still create a frame. I just love creating a frame around the paper. So as per usual, I am just taking off some of that stickiness. I'm going to just lift it so you can see a little bit of a shadow. I don't want to do the whole of the width of the tape, but I do want, a bit of a border going on around there. And as always, I like to wrap it around the side of this pad because it is a spiral bound pad, so it will the pages do move a little bit. So by just wrapping it around a bit, let me just get that. It doesn't matter if that's totally not straight though. I don't mind a little bit wonky, but that was like very wonky donkey. Right, that's a bit better. It's still not brilliant, but it will do. This is only in a sort of like a sketch pad. It's not anything that needs to be perfect, because this is more for me to have a play around with my materials, to have a bit of fun, to relax and and enjoy the process really. So I'm just doing the outside today. I've just realized I haven't actually got any water to use, so I will have to stop the filming for a second while I go and sort out my water. Right, so I am back. I have got my giant pot of water for cleaning and my little pot of water for if I need to do any mixing or to add to my colours. And I've got my favourite brushes of the moment, which are these 4 that came with in the Princeton Neptune set that I got given for Christmas. I'm loving these brushes so much. Especially, I have to say, this one and this one I think I've used the most. And I'm going to pick out some colours to use. Now, most obviously, I'm going to pick some sunset type colours or some sun type colours. But also in the inspiration in the book, that she also had some blue and some green. So I've got, what is this? I think this is malachite. So might have a bit of malachite, a bit of a dark green, and we'll have this one? I feel it's Prussian. It's not, might not be Prussian blue. No, it's Cobalt blue. So we'll have those three as well. Oh, and there was also a bit of purple. So let's go a bit of pink and a bit of purple. I might not use all these colours, but if I have them ready, then I know that they are available. Now, I did think about using a circle stencil to lay out my sun, but I think I'm going to go freehand because I haven't really got any that are probably big enough, and I want it to have a little bit of a sort of a freehand look. So I'm going to start off. I want to go with, I think I'm going to go blues and greens down the bottom, and I want to just use my Neo colours to give a bit of the sort of the landscapey bit at the bottom with some lines. So I think just do that, and then maybe up like that. And then I'm going to use my, let's use this one to do, I want to sort of get my hand and eye in first before I start to, let's do a sort of a smaller one to start with, because it had multiple. I'm not worried about it being multiple lines either, because I am going to be colouring these out. So I'm going to do a smaller one actually inside that is might make yellow. Then we'll have that one. Then we'll have another one here, I think. I think that will be enough for the actual sun. Then let's use the pink. We're going to just do some sun rays coming out. Let's go this side. So we have got our sort of basic idea, and it might look a bit basic, but that's fine. So let's get a bit of colour going down to start with. So the Neocolor IIs are a water-soluble crayon. So the Neocolor ones are, actually, which one shall I use? Shall I use this one? Shall I use that one? Let's use this one. The Neocolor ones are wax-based, so they do not dissolve with water. So if you want ones that are water-soluble, you need the Neocolor IIs. And let's get a bit of this yellow in as well. So let's get two different shades of yellow in this middle part. And these are absolutely beautiful for watering out. They really do. The pigment is really good, you know, lots of it, and they do water out really easily. The other thing you can do is you can scribble a little bit onto, you can get a special board that is sold specifically to do it. I bought a little cheap chopping board and that works just as well. It's just got a little bit of a rough surface, and you can then scribble a bit of the colour out and then lift it as a watercolour. And somebody did suggest on my one of my previous videos where I use the woodies that you can do that with those as well, and I hadn't really thought about that, so that was a fabulous top tip. So I'm sorry I can't remember who said it, because it's not in front of me right now, but thank you very much to whoever it was that gave me that top tip, because I think that would be a really good way of using the woodies as well. So I'm just sort of going around and blending this out. I haven't really got any particular expectation of this at the minute. I just want to get some colour down. You can also dip them straight into the water because they've not got any wood or anything involved with them. They are pure pigment, just like a paper wrap. So if you want to dip them in the water, you can. Now I'll show you here how nicely that pigment will just water out. But as I always say, if you haven't got Neocolor IIs, you could do the same as this using your normal watercolours, using your watercolour pencils, using your, let me think, other things like your gelatos. So, use what you have is what I would always say. Now I want to sort of blend that in a little bit more. Oh, I'm liking that. Now I want one more, so we're going to go with this red now. Let's dip it in the water just so you can see the different sort of, so you can see you get a much more intense colour because it's already started to dissolve that pigment. So, I mean, I don't worry about the paper, but you can gradually remove that paper. But if you want to lay down a lot of colour much more quickly, then that's the way. You can also, if you want to be a little bit more sort of delicate with it, you can take, whoops, your colour directly from the crayon, and you can do splats. One of my favourite things. I love a splat. Right, let's clean that one up. Right, let's get a bit more water. Just go. So let's just blend that together a bit more there. You can then, I'm liking that so far. Now, I think on my camera that yellow is probably going to look a bit green because it always does, but I promise you it is yellow in the middle, not green. Now, the only thing I'll say is if you dip them in the water, you do then get into a bit more of a mess. So I'm going to put that one over there so that it can dry out. I tend to try and let them dry out before I start putting them back in the pot because they can then sort of cross-contaminate with each other a little bit. Right, let's, oops, do some purple colour here. Now, I could let this dry and then move on to the next colour so I make sure I don't cross over the colours, but actually I don't mind because I'm sort of not too worried about it crossing over. So there I can see, because this is mixed media paper, when I colour directly onto that it does catch a bit of that grain, but just by adding that water, a little bit of sort of smooshing over the top, and it moves. It's fantastic. It's such good quality pigment. Let's do alternating with this. I think alternating stripes. We'll have purple and pink. I used to work, I used to be well, I am qualified as a teacher, and I used to, for a period of time, work as a children's centre teacher in the UK. And one of the places I worked for, we had they had a uniform, and it was purple and pink. Just reminded me. So stood out. Right, here we go. That one. I could put this one down as well. Ready. Just going to sit there. It's not like it's going to dry out and then not be able to be activated. It's, you know, once the pigment's down, it's fine. Swish you up there, swish. And by drawing my lines with the Neocolors to start with, that means that then they're just going to sort of disappear. Whereas if I'd have drawn them with something a little bit more permanent, then I would have been stuck with the black line or whatever colour I chose. I may still add in black lines, but now I've got the choice. You know, I don't have to have them like that if I don't want them. So that's, oops, that was very loud. Sorry about that. Let's get a bit of the pink. So I will list all these colours in the description box, because if I try to read them now, it will be a disaster. I'm splatting water a bit around a bit here. So this is more of a pink. It's quite a purpley pink. I could have gone for a brighter pink potentially, but this is the one we have now got. Or I could have gone actually probably with a darker purple, but I can always add things on afterwards. So this is, if you're looking at this thinking, ooh, that's just a bit basic, isn't it? Remember, this is just my base layer. This is just me getting colour down so that I've got an idea, an outline, you know, a colour base for other things that I'm going to do. Not when you're, especially doing art journaling, I always sort of think that you sort of have to almost ignore how ugly the first layers are. You know, you just keep going until you're happy. And I know some people say sometimes, oh, you make it look really easy, but it's because I do really view it as it's one layer at a time. So even if I did this and I didn't like it, I know I'm going to add more on top. So it's not a problem. I'm not going to stop at this point and go, well, no, that's it, I don't like it, because I know I'm going to add more on. So I've got all these brushes out. I'm not using any others at the moment. All right, right, now in this bottom part, I think I'm going to go with these greens and blues. So I've got like quite a brightish green there. Then we'll have this darker green here. We'll have a bit of this blue in here. And we'll add some colour to those. Let's go up to that. So let me know in the comments if you have Neocolor IIs and how you like to use them, or if you use them, or if you're like me, you buy things and then you let them sit for about 3 years. I don't know if it's been 3 years, but I do have a tendency to buy products and then they sit round for quite a while before I actually go, I really should use these. To be fair, I have used my Neocolors. You can probably tell that by looking at them. So, but I don't use them as much as I feel I should now. See, that's leaking up into that bit. I don't mind that so much. I could always turn that into trees in front of my son if I wanted to. So, you know, I don't worry about the leaking and the mixing at this point, because I know I'm going over it with more detail in future layers. So it's going to, I can either combine it into something else, or it will be disguised. Right, I'm thinking then another bit of this one here, this colour, and then we'll have that dark green. I love this dark green. This is I think it's Malachite. Is this one Malachite? Yes, this is Malachite, which is a really nice colour. Really sort of deep. That's a bit wet. I really should have a piece of I've got my cloth there, but I could usually have a bit of tissue, kitchen towel, to just mop up a bit of the water, and I'm sort of being very gung-ho. Mop up a bit of that, and oh, that's beautiful. That colour is so lovely. And by doing things like this as well, you sort of get to see your colours sometimes that you can't tell by looking at that's going to be that beautiful sort of green blue sort of colour. You really can't see it. Do you know, I really do need to get some kitchen towel, but I am really getting this very wet. Oh look, a big blob there. That's okay. I might use that to my advantage. So let's get, oops. More water down there, because I feel like I'm re-lifting it. Sometimes if you go over too many times, sometimes you start actually lifting colour rather than putting it down. But there we go. So I am going to leave that to dry, and then we will think about what we want to do on top of this. I have to admit, I did give it a bit of a heat with the heat tool, but really the best way to let your products dry is to let them dry naturally. I am really impatient. I'm always heating things with my heat tool, but you know, like I say, it's in my sketchbook. But I thought to bring a little bit of detail back in, at some point I do want to use my acrylic markers to add some doodling and some bits and bobs in, but I want to sort of add some detail back to these lines without it being too bold, I think is what. So I thought I'll use something I don't actually use very much on, so this may affect the colour of the video, because it doesn't tend to like the black. So we'll actually get it open. So these are my colouring pencils. Now I do actually use colouring pencils quite a lot, but I tend to use them over other things. So sometimes if I'm doing watercolors or alcohol marker colouring, I will use them on top of that to add extra depth and colour. So I thought, let's use some of these to add some details back in. Now I have a mix. I have my colour pencils all in here, and I have a mix of brands because I've tried, that's obviously a popular colour, that one. I've tried out different types of pencils. I have Prismacolor, I have Caran d'Ache, I think they're the Pablo ones, and I have Faber-Castell's Polychromos, but I don't tend to buy massive sets. I buy sort of smaller sets, and then I've muddled them all up because you can mix your oil-based pencils and your wax-based pencils in projects. It's fine. I do have to say my favourites are the Faber-Castells. The reason being they're a little bit harder, and I am quite rough with the pencils. I find the Prismacolors are a little bit soft for me, and I will break them really easily. So I've just noticed I've got a load of colour on my hands. So I do like the Polychromos myself, and you'll probably find they're the ones that I've got that are a bit more well used. So this is dark chrome yellow. Let's go for a couple of different ones. Let's go dark chrome yellow, cadmium yellow. Let's go with this one, which is dark cadmium orange. We want something sort of on a red scale, don't we? So this one is deep scarlet red. I was struggling to read that. And this one is dark red. It's just called, I don't know, there's a word there, but I can't read it. But I will list them all in the description box. Let's have, we want like a purple. Let's have this purple, which is purple violet. We'll have that pink there, which is fuchsia. And then let's go with, we'll go with this one. I might need to sharpen that one a little bit, which is Cobalt Turquoise, and maybe go with this dark green, which is grass green. Oh, that's a Prismacolor, that one. That's fine. That's fine. So they were all Faber-Castell's Polychromos apart from the green. So what I want to do is I just wanted to give it a bit more definition. And this is, you know, when your different products really come into their own, using them together so that you can get a much, you know, sort of nicer effect. Now I'm just debating whether I want to actually also colour some of my areas in. That might be quite nice. I'm literally just following the lines. Nothing, you know, nothing too difficult. Did I do that bottom one? I can't remember. I don't think I did. I think I did that one there, but not there. Yeah, so just following the lines. You know, this, I am not a skilled sketcher or anything like that. I like to just follow lines, do things that are fairly simple. Let's just add a bit more. I might just go bring that down there, and then just, you can add a bit more colour in to areas. Let's add a bit more depth of colour into here, maybe. Oh, I don't know what that was. A bit of the blue into here, perhaps, just to add a bit of extra in there. Might just go along the top here. Now I have a blender pencil, the Derwent one, that I quite like using, so I might just go over them. I'm not trying to add loads and loads of colour, I'm just wanting a little bit. So let's just, oh, sorry if I disappear a little bit, that's me disappearing down into the the depths of the floor there. Now I have, you'll see how much I use my blender pencil. It's very small. I have got another one in here. I've also got paper stamps or tortillons, but I do quite like using this blender pencil. I'm pretty sure it's Derwent. It came with some burnishes and two blender pencils and two burnishes. And it just blends that pencil out a little bit, just so it doesn't look quite so harsh. Let's go here as well, and I did a bit of blue there, I think. Usually what I then do with this is I would just have a bit of scrap paper that I just take. I'm not worried at the moment because the blues and greens, it doesn't matter to me if they do sort of blend a little bit together. It's not a problem because they are, you know, next to each other on the colour wheel. There we go, and then just take that down there, and it just blends that colour out a little bit just to make it a little less solid, a little bit more blended out, funnily enough. There we go. Let me just get a bit of scrap paper. Let's fold this in half, and then I will just clean that off. That's all it takes. So that's those two. Let's now go in with, it needs to be a darker colour, I think. What did I get this one? Let's get this one. A bit of colour as well. Now I sort of shy a little bit away from coloured pencils because I do struggle a little bit sometimes with pain in my thumbs. And so for me, things like this sometimes can be, you know, a little bit more painful. But if you do like light layers is better anyway. And I do find that using things, that's why I often use them on top of other things as well, because I don't have to worry about creating loads and loads of layers of pencil. I've already got some colour down. So there you go, that'll do for that one. Let's go in here. I feel the, oh, let's go with the red maybe in that one. So I'm just holding it quite lightly and giving quite a light coat of colour. Now recently I did see that Lindsay the Frugal Crafter did a whole tutorial using pencils on a project. So what I will do is I will link that down in the description box below if you're interested in really seeing, you know, pencils used. Did I don't think I did blend this out, did I? And she's got a whole pencil class that you can sign up for. She talks about in that as well. So if it's something you are, you know, really interested in, then that's a really good place to go. Just you can use, I sometimes use baby oil to blend out my pencils. You can get special, oh, I shouldn't do that, I should get a brush, and I have got a brush, that's the annoying thing, to just like brush off any excess rather than my hands, because I'm more likely to smear it with my hands. But you know, right, let's just now go for this final. Now, if you are trying to draw something like a circle or an arch, if you hold your hand on and sort of use your hand as a natural sort of compass, you can get a much more rounded arch, if that's the word I'm looking for. I'm not happy with this here at the minute. I just want to add maybe a little bit more pencil and blend that out a little bit more. Or maybe blend it out with a bit of orange as well. So you can mix, you know, blend your colours together with your pencils. I'm just not feeling that that was quite right. Might have to get a blending stump and some oil or something at some point and just blend that a bit better. Like that. A bit more of that definition in there as well. Oops, I didn't mean to do that, but there we go. It's going to be gone over anyway. And I turn my pencil more on its side. I can get more of the colour down. And again, I'm just going in with that sort of lighter, brighter red there, just to blend those together. Clean off my blender pencil. But again, I want to put a little bit of definition in. I'm not too worried because, again, I am going to be going over this with all sorts of other things. So adding in extra details. So but that's just adding a little bit more, hopefully, of the... Let's do this. I'm not going to do extra colour on this. I just want to put in the lines a little bit. I did totally lose a line over here. Let's do those in the purple. I mean, you could then use the pencils to add in, for example, if you wanted to do some pattern into here. Just suddenly thought that'd be quite cool. Let's do that in the pink ones. So just adding in some scallops. Now, I should probably sharpen this pencil a little bit. I tried to keep them quite sharp, but I blunt. This is what I mean about me being quite heavy-handed and needing sort of like a harder pencil, because I do blunt them really quickly because of how heavy-handed I am. Now, this is, I'm quite liking all the colour so far, but I feel now is when I want to start maybe adding in a bit more of my black details, but I'm not quite sure yet. I'm just wondering whether I could just colour those in slightly. I'm getting carried away now, aren't I? This is the trouble. This is not what I was intending to do, but now this is the point of, you know, when you get your sketchbooks and your art journals. I know not everybody likes using sketchbooks and art journals, but I find them a really good place to just experiment and to be able to get my mediums out and my materials out and just, you know, for want of a better word, play. I don't see play as a negative term. You know, it's how we all start off on our learning journeys, and just by using your materials, using your tools, is how you learn. And you know, however much you watch other people doing things until you do it yourself, that's when your true sort of learning will take place. A bit of that in there, very lightly. I'm doing that very, very lightly, just to add a little bit of something in there. So that's giving it a little bit more interest. Now, see, now I've done that, I'm thinking I want to do more. I might do something. I'm just wondering whether to do. I'm a bit scared. Just wanted to do some like cobbles. Do some cobbles, sort of stone type effect. Just to something different. See other people do cobblestones and I always think it looks so cool, and it's not something I generally think about doing, but actually it's such a simple sort of thing to do, and yet it always looks so effective. A bit like that. So this is a good way as well. With these big areas of colour, you can really sort of get in and practice some of your different patterns. Because for me, I am a creature of habit when it comes to my patterns. I will stick with my stripes and I will stick with my dots and my circles. They are, you know, my safe things to use. And sometimes just having an area where you've got a bit of space like you have on this, and you can have a little practice with some other sorts of patterns. I'm liking that. Maybe should have had it a little bit darker on there. I'm going to just sharpen my pencil. Let me get my little peanuts out that bowl. Just use this little bowl just to... Now you are meant to move your sharpener, apparently, not your pencil, but years and years of sharpening pencils quickly as I can means that I don't do that. So I apologise for not sharpening my pencil correctly. Let's get that one in there. Let's have one going over here. And down there. You know, and you can do this any which way you want. You can just fit them in wherever. Just rounding off sort of like the edges, like in the corners. That's that one. And then one left for here. It's like follow the yellow brick road, but only not. Follow the yellow. It's not yellow. Follow the purple cobble road. I'm wondering whether I can then colour these with something else. I'm not sure what. Right, that is that for now. So I've got those. Now I want to I've got my black Copic Acrea. Now this could, you know, not be right, but I'm thinking of colouring those bits that are sort of like in between, colour them in black. You notice how I said I'm thinking, and then I actually started doing it before I'd even finished thinking. But that is sometimes how you need to be, because you can think too much. I truly do believe that. Sometimes you need to just do, not think. I don't know if I liked how I just did that one, but that's... So where I've got my little sort of corners, I'm just filling them in. Oh, I do. I like that. I'm liking that. Now, I don't want to lean on that, so I'm going to go over here, but then I'm going to have to go there. I'll turn my book around. I'll do what I always tell people to do, which is turn things around. Don't try to turn yourself inside out. Get in the right, you know, trying to fill things in or colour things in. I'm sure I will go back in a minute and think, oh, I've missed out some bits that I wanted to have the corners coloured. That corner. Just trying to make sure I colour, do every corner so that they're all rounded. Now that acrylic, that marker is going over that pencil and Neocolor fine. I'm going to turn it upside down because, you know, that's what I've just realised that there are some in here that I haven't done. I'm going to go back in. I'm trying to do every corner of each of the cobbles. I'm going to call them cobbles. They look like cobblestone. There. I don't know if they might take a little bit longer to dry on something like this. But they are, you know, they're going over the top. They are drying. I'm going to go quiet now because when I start concentrating, and this is when you're sort of the mindfulness of things comes in, and this is what I like about doing things like this, is because you get so engrossed in what you're doing, then all your mind can think about is, where am I going to stick another little bit of black pen? Have I done enough on that? Oh, just that corner there. And then let's do this one. Of course, if ever you are watching my videos and you think, oh, Jane, you are taking so long over this, you can speed up and slow down videos. So also, if you've seen a video and you think, that is too quick, I can't see what's going on. If you go to the settings, oh no, I need to do an extra one there. It gives you an option for playback speed, and you can speed up and slow down videos. I just thought I'd mention that because I know sometimes people have said, oh, I couldn't see what you were using because it's too fast, but that is, you know, something you can do. And also the same as, like, if you're like thinking, I don't want to listen to you whittering on, I just want to see the project, but I want to see it happen a bit quicker. Speed me up. I will not be offended. I won't know. So, you know, just in case that's something that you want to do, that is there. There we go. Nearly at the end of that bit. I feel like that needs some there, some of that, but I feel like that needs a bit more. And there we go. So something a bit different to normal. Again, that is, do you know what? The trouble is now I've put a bit of black on, and now I'm thinking I need to add some black into these. If I regret it, it's a bit late now, isn't it? Because I've started once again. See how I'll work here. Quite like that. Yeah, I think so. So I'm going inside my scallops, so it's not actually on the coloured lines, but I do then want to differentiate like that. I'm hoping I'm not going to. Oh, that's right. I always have to, I sort of forget whether what hand is my dominant hand and where it's going to then be smudging things. That is something to be aware of, you know, if you're left-handed or right-handed, when you're going things that are going to remain a little bit wet. Just I'm just trying to see whether that was, I think that's all right. The amount of times I have stuck my hands in wet mediums is ridiculous. There we go. So that's those bits done. I'm just going to have a little think now. Right, I may switch off while I have a think about what else I want to add on to this. Okay, so I've been having a little think, and while I was having a little think, I have to admit I did do a little bit of shading. So what I decided to do was I wanted to enhance some of these areas. So I've gone over the pink and the purple lines, and then I thought, oh, I think I could do a little bit of shading on these cobblestones. That will make them look a bit nicer. And I've gone over the shading in here. So just, I've left these two sections. I didn't want to show, like, make you have to see the whole thing. So I have decided to just go along the side quite lightly and the bottom of each of the cobbles with my purple, just to add a little bit of shading on one sort of side and the bottom part. And I thought that just made it a little bit, gave it a bit more depth. I felt they were a bit sort of flat almost. I know they are flat cobble, well, they're sort of flat, aren't they? Sort of flat, but also try and trip you up a lot, cobblestones. But I thought that just gave them a bit of a better look. So just going into each one. And then whilst I was doing this and thinking what I want to do next, I was thinking that actually what I want to do, I do want to just use the black again on my other areas just to enhance. I like black. I know sometimes people have a bit of an issue with black, but I think in art journaling and this sort of thing, black actually and white are really good contrast colours. So I thought I'd have a bit more black just to enhance and outline all the different sort of areas. So I want to go around my sort of different parts of my rainbow. It's not rainbow, sun. I'm going to do that one as well there, because I feel like that sort of created naturally with the colours two different lines there. I think I'm going to lightly go over, but I want the colour to still very much be there. So I'm sort of just doing a very fine line with those. I don't want to go mad with that, but I just wanted to really emphasize everything on there. And I'm feeling that this idea of filling in with different sort of patterns is where I want to go. So I'm going to carry on with the black, and I thought we'll just do some zigzags on this first one. On that one. On this one, I think I'm going to do some curved lines. And I'm going to leave that middle one for the moment. I have an idea for the bottom part of what I want to do, but I now want to sort of bring in some of my other markers. So I'm still using these ones because I'm really wanting to test these out and see how well they work with everything and how long I'm going to keep on using them. So far I'm very, very pleased with them. I still think they're quite expensive, but if you know, if that isn't an issue, then I think they actually are really good. Now I'm going to just add some white in. White is now a really nice contrast with that black. I'm going to add some white into these top bits as well, I think. They are very, very smooth, I have to say. They are going over this pencil and Neocolor, no problem whatsoever. So like that, and I think we'll do the same. Just thinking if I was putting my hand in anything then. The same going around with these. Add that extra sort of the black and white together I just love. Then I'm thinking I'm just going to add some. You may notice that sometimes I just randomly start in it, and that is just how I do my projects. There's quite often there isn't a reason why I'm doing it like that. You know, I haven't specifically chosen to start there because I think that would be the best way. It's because that's where my hand just went. And like I say, sometimes that is quite awkward for me, because then I find that I've now put my hand, you know, started something where I now need to put my hand. I should sort of probably start from the left and move round, but why would I do that when I can just start wherever I feel? So let's go. I'm going to turn it like this so that I can then do these ones. Now, if you find your pen starts to sort of stop, or is getting a little bit more scratchy feeling, a bit dry, just give it a quick pump on there. You do need to still shake these up before you use them every time, because once they've been sitting, you know, you need to get that paint flowing again. I do like adding in the white. I think sometimes when you add the white, that sort of then really helps things to pop. I'm just wondering whether if I do like a highlight the opposite side to where I've done the shading. I should have probably not been doing that round that way. So I like that. I like having that extra. Oh, see what I mean? Just lent right in there. Now I'm going to have to go over that again. Luckily I didn't move it too much. Hopefully it is the white is sort of sinking into the colour a little bit there. I don't know whether that's because that was the first ones I did and maybe I hadn't primed the pen enough. But that's definitely something that's happening there. Let's just go around with these highlights. Let's turn it upside down so we don't put a hand in the things. And when I do highlights on things, some people will be doing it so that they're thinking about where the light goes. I can honestly tell you, it never even crosses my mind. I do it wherever I think it looks nice. If I was a proper, you know, more of a fine artist, then obviously that is something I would have to think about more. But I don't, because I'm not trying to make it look realistic. This is fun. I'm just thinking that I want to do some like lines coming down in this yellow bit. I'm liking that. Did you see I got bored? That's terrible. I should have carried on being really specific and I didn't. I got bored. That is really bad. Right, let's do that. Now I'm thinking, oh, I need to give this another shake. I think it started to, decided that it didn't like me doing too much with it. Let's get that. There we go. So because I wanted to do some little dots along the top of these fields. I feel like this is a field. This could be a river. These are different fields where the sunset is. It's obviously a very abstract interpretation of that. You can also see that I start off with my dots all nicely close together and then they get further apart as I move across them. I'm still in okay. Yes, I think I am. So yeah, let's just do these little dots, and then I have an idea for what I want to add also to the bottom. And let's do that I think every one of them has now got to have this. This is the only trouble, is that when I start something, I do have a tendency to then feel that I have to continue that across. But usually it's because if you don't, it sometimes looks a bit odd that you've sort of started something and then you don't finish it off. You don't sort of repeat it. Things often need repeating within especially an abstract piece, just though it sort of goes against the whole concept of the idea of it being abstract. But you know, the repetition often is what's pleasing to, you know, your eyes. You see something in one thing and then you see it in another place, and it unifies the whole project. So I do now have to have all these dots. I'm not going to do too much. I'm not going to fill in this bottom part. I thought I'd just do these dots just to highlight the sort of the flow of what I am considering the landscape. And then I have got something I just want to add in. But first of all, I have to think about what I want to do on here. Now, I am wondering whether to go back in. I quite like how this colouring has now gone. I was thinking about colouring in a bit more with it, but actually I don't want to colour any more in with it. I don't think I like it as that is, but I do now want to add some gold. I think gold is just really nice. Look, I'm rolling my pens in this bits of paint that I've put. Let's fold that in half again. So I've got my gold. Let me just check it is the gold, yes. Because I've got a sepia one as well, and I suddenly thought gold is like one of your finishing touches in things like this. And so I'm thinking I'm going to go. See what I mean about me reverting to my dots? I can't help it. It's just, I do love to, and I wonder why I keep going there. I keep starting on that one. I just want to do a dot in the middle of the white as well. The nice thing about these without acrylic pens is you can layer over the top of another marker, so you know you get that you can do layer upon layer. I'll do this. I'm doing 5 around the top, and then I'm doing 3, 3, 3, 3. I tend to always do odd numbers because again they are more pleasing to the eye. But if you want to do, you know, rules are there to sometimes help you, especially when you're getting started. But if you don't want to do 5 and you want to do 4, do 4. You know, there's no crafting police or art police that are going to come round and tell you that you can't do that. And as long as you're enjoying the process, as long as you're having fun and you are getting something. I've just done that wrong now because I was doing 3, now I've done 5 on all of them. So that's how it will now go. Maybe I won't even worry about how many there are. Doesn't matter. It's in my sketchbook. It's for me to play with my mediums. It's for me to try out different techniques. I think I'm going to leave the cobbles. I'm not going to add any gold to them. I think they are nice as they are. But I do want to sort of build these up. So I feel these were a little bit more, not scruffy, that's not the word I'm trying to think of. They were a bit more put down very, very quickly. Right, so now I'm going to do the gold in here. Let's carry on with the triangles or zigzags, whichever way. And I'm going to put that And then I might go around that with the black. I don't know my lessons. Right, let's do some zigzags within the scallops. And then I think I'm going to go dash, dot and dots just around this one. Should have done that before I did the bottom one, but I haven't. There, just to add a little bit of that into there. And I think let's go back to the black and just go around that gold spot. I like that. I think it's getting there. Now I just want to do this one little thing at the bottom. I think I'm going to go with a finer pen. Now I have got these are Unipin pens. I get these ones. They're pigment pen ink, the water and fade proof. And I use these ones because, to be quite honest, you can get them in a big set and they're fairly inexpensive. I've got pen all over the bottom of that. So that's why I choose them, but I find they're really good, and you get them in all sorts of sizes. So what I wanted to do was just add some little lines, wiggly lines, to be sort of like almost plants. And I'm going to just do the wiggly lines at all different heights there. Let's go right to the edge. And then I just wanted to put a little dot on the top of each to be sort of like a little plant. That's what that is, especially on this bit where it's like almost looks like a river. So it would be like the little, I suppose, like little reeds almost on the river bank. I thought that would be quite cool. And let's do some here, just to add a little bit of interest as well into the foreground. So like I say, you don't have to be, you know, an artist as in you know, being able to draw landscapes and plants and everything to be able to create something to give the impression. And that's what I like about abstract art, is because, you know, you start with something very, very basic. If you go back to like those first layers I put down, where it was just blocks of colour, but then just by playing with pattern and playing with, you know, colours and shapes, because that's all drawing is, isn't it? It's just different shapes put together. And if you can hold a pencil, you can draw a shape. So you can draw a wiggly line, you can draw a circle, you can do a zigzag, you can do a scallop, you know. So have a go at things. Don't let maybe not being able to draw, and everybody can draw. We might not be able to draw as well as others, but we can all draw. But don't let that put you off having a go and using your things. Don't think, oh, I can't use my beautiful paints because I'm not a fine artist. You use your paints however you want to use your paints. You paid for them. Right, 1, 2, 3, 4. I want one more. I'm going to have one more little patch here. Little patch of me wiggly alien reeds. That's what I'm calling them. So if you have enjoyed this video, do please give me a thumbs up. And if you're not subscribed, I'd really love it if you could subscribe. I'm really enjoying doing these sort of longer, talkative videos. And like I say, if you don't like talking, but you want to watch it in real time, do feel free to mute me. I won't be affected. Right, I think that is as far as I want to go. Now I'm thinking, do I want to put... No, I think that is it. But like everything, if you want to come back to it at a later date and go, actually, I want to add some more bits in there, then you can. So let's take off. Let's remember which way round we did this. So, and this, this makes me so happy doing this, when you take the tape off and you get that border. It just makes everything look like a work of art. Now, mine, it is lifting the... Oh, it did go under it there a little bit, didn't it? But never mind. I'm going to throw that in the bin now. It's decided it's going to attach itself to it. There you go. Now, sometimes I don't feel like I want to add any words, and today is one of those days. So let me lift up and just see if I can sort of maybe... I'll take some photos which you will be able to look at it better at the end, because photos always seem to show it better. So thank you ever so much for watching today. Do leave your comments down in the comments section and let me know if you've got Neocolors, if you use them, if you enjoy this type of sort of abstract artwork, and if you're going to have a go. That would be really lovely if you can let me know. So thank you ever so much. Have a lovely rest of the day, evening, afternoon, morning, wherever you are, and I'll see you again soon. Bye.